If he can pull it off. Here's Kyle Busch, who gets him by a car length on the start.
And Greg Biffle on the outside, but here comes Mark. Oh, he's able to clear up in that second spot. That was big for Mark to get off that second corner that way.
Well, he gets that big run through the middle of the corner.
Dale Jr. up in that fourth spot. Marcus Ambrose in fifth. Biffle still trying to work that high side on Mark Martin.
It's going to be hard for Mark to focus on that 18 car with Biffle chewing on his rear bumper.
Well, how about these three guys having to do something tonight to have a big night? They're all getting it done, but we got a mess back here, guys.
Tire rub on Michael Waltrip's car. Remember, he stayed on the racetrack. Sam Hornick's back in the race in the 77 car. It'll be 10 laps to go next time by. 10 laps to go in Bristol, Tennessee. This is there were just 3 races to go to make the chase critical to get a good finish.
Oh, got some more contact. Man.
That's Michael getting his 00 car that he owns a little out of shape there, but they were all just 3 wide racing hard.
Now Mark Martin had backed up by 5 car lengths, has now cut it to 3 car lengths with 9 laps to go this time by.
Looks like he might get to the bumper.
He's coming hard. Got trouble. Michael Waltrip around. Heavy contact then.
And the 33 car involved, and that will pretty much doom any shot he would have at getting in the chase.
But it's certainly going to hurt his chances. We still have 2 races to go, but it's just putting Clint Boyer in a more difficult position to make that happen.
Come on around.
I know that's not what Mark Martin wanted to see either. He was making some headway towards the lead there.
And the whole front of that car is just destroyed for Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, unless they red flag this, we're going to be down to pretty much a green-white checkered before they can get all of this. I think they're going to red flag this, though.
Yeah, they're going to stop them on the racetrack. We're being heard. They're going to put them on the back straightaway and try to get this all cleaned up so we have some laps of racing left. Well, Kyle Busch able to get the advantage on the restart by a car length or 2. Mark backs up 5 or 6 car lengths and runs him back down.
And Mark's wish didn't come true again. He wants them to quit wrecking, but they keep wrecking. This is how this all got started. Or this is the first time, as you see Michael Waltrip kind of squeezes Martin Truex and then gets into the right rear of the car that he owns of David Rudiman. And then I think Michael might have a tire go down right here. Yeah, just swaps ends, gets into the wall. And then Clint Boyer gets turned around by Joey Logano and backs into Michael Waltrip.
Oh.
Michael was having a good night. That's the bad thing, man.
All went south in the last 15 laps.
And that's Bristol. God, you drive your heart out for 480 laps, and here we're at 492, and you got not anything to show for it except a torn-up race car.
You heard the fans cheer when Michael got out of the car, and there's the 33 car, the back end, the front end. Clint Boyer's car all chewed up. Clint had moved up in within about 50 points of the 12th position early in this race, and now as he sits on the racetrack here under the red flag, he's being shown 112 points back of 12th, 15th in the points.
Guys, look at up in 11th. Brian Vickers, who's got the lucky dog 2 different times, and he had fallen way back as far as the points and outside of the top 12, but now he sits in 11th spot on the racetrack. We're going to have some more racing to go, and he's only 36 points out of that 12th spot.
And you know what I'm thinking about also with Brian Vickers is having a good run. What about the 47 car, Marcus Ambrose? He will start on the outside of that second row behind Kyle Busch on the restart. And Marcus has got a quick car, and that high line has been awfully good. If Busch gets an advantage, Ambrose could end up being right there in second spot.
Yeah, he could very well do that. It just seems that his car and Mark Martin's takes a couple of laps for it to come in. They just don't get going on that first or second lap. But once you get past that, man, those 2 guys are fast.
The problem is we're not going to have but just a few laps to go here when we get the green.
Well, let's check in down on the 18 pits and talk to Steve Addington, the crew chief for Kyle Busch. Jamie.
The wind is picking up. The raindrops are coming. Steve, what is going through your mind right now?
Oh, I can't control that. You know, I mean, it is what it is. But everybody here has done an awesome job on this M&M's Toyota Camry all weekend long. Kyle was very patient through practice and everything. We hit on something right there at the end of happy hour, and he was happy with the car. But it's just, you know, this racing here is nerve-wracking anyway at Bristol, but I love this place. This is my favorite racetrack to come to. Kyle gets around here great, and him and Mark Martin race to the end. That's going to be awesome. They had two great race car drivers right there, you know, and you got Biffle and them sticking their nose in there. So we'll see how it plays out. Either we're going to run these last few laps or it's going to rain one way or another.
All right, let's say we're going to go back to green. These guys are side by side. You told me today, despite your 15th position in the points, you guys were going to go for the win. How much risk are you willing to take?
Oh, we're going for the win. There's no doubt. We've come this far. I mean, we got to race for the win, and Biffle and them are right there in the top 10, so we've got to get all the points we can get for here, Atlanta, and Richmond.
Hey, it's all about team morale. It's about points, Shannon. Let's see if the 18 will hang on for their first win since Las Vegas.
Jamie, someone who would love to break up the party right now with the 18 and the 16 up front is, of course, Frank Kerr, the 47 of Marcos Ambrose. It looks like we're only going to have a handful of laps when we go back green. Do you guys have enough to get those guys and win this race?
The 18 and the 5 car are really good. You know, we'll get to restart on the outside here, and it seems like on the restarts you can get going better on the outside. So we could probably get to the third, but the 18 and 5 was real good. But Marcus did a great job coming from the back, and pit crew was great. You know, we ran good here in the spring, brought the same car back, and Clorox Toyota's been good all day.
You guys had a great happy hour practice this weekend as well. He seems to have really adapted this racetrack. Why do you think that is?
You know, he's a talent, you know what I mean? And he adapts to these racetracks way faster than anybody ever expected. And this just suits his style. And we picked a good setup for him, you know, and we'll see what happens. They get banging. We never know what happens. But I hope the rain stops and we get back to racing.
4th place right now for Marcos Ambrose, guys. Not bad for second time here at Bristol. Doc?
And Jamie, if Marcus Ambrose could somehow pull this off, he would join a very elite group of drivers that collected their very first NASCAR Sprint Cup victory here. Look at this group here. Dale Earnhardt Sr. won here in '79. Our man Rusty Wallace, Kyle Busch. You see Ernie Irvin, Elliott Sadler. I mean, there's some incredible names there that have won their first race here at Bristol. And Marcus Ambrose, that'd be pretty good group to be a part of.
Yeah, and if you win your first race at Bristol, it just means you got a lot of talent. You got a lot more wins coming.
If he's going to win this, he's going to have to get a little bit like Dale Earnhardt and use the nose of that car to get that done. I
He's
think.
not afraid to. I've seen him. He'll do it.
Let's listen into Mark Martin's radio.
God, why do they have to wreck? You know, man, I tell you, you know, just wish we could have raced for it, you know, instead of having to do all this jockeying.
Man, that's a lot of frustration, too, because he just caught back up to Kyle, was going to have a good race to the finish, and you hate seeing that caution come out like that.
And he knows he's going to have to, if we get this restarted, which hopefully we will, he's going to have to start down the inside. He's going to have to battle Greg Biffle again. Man, it just it creates frustration on the driver's part, but there's nobody out there better at handling those type situations than Mark Martin.
Just imagine what these drivers have been thinking about these last 3.5 hours. What kind of day it's been on this racetrack. Why don't we talk to a guy who's been in the middle of it all afternoon here with our in-race reporter, Jeff Burton, the 31 car, now being shown back on the lead lap in 20th spot.
Hey, Jeff, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You have a copy?
Come in.
Well, did you need a break, or were you doing all right there?
I was doing okay, but we spent the first half of the race on 7 cylinders for some reason, like a wire loose or something, and then now we're back on 8. We're fast. We just keep having to play catch up, but I think we're pretty sporty here if we can it's obviously not many laps left, but we're going to go get what we can get.
Hey, Jeff, have you seen the track change throughout the night, or has it stayed pretty consistent?
It's really hard for me to say because, like I said, the first half of the race, we were on 7 cylinders. Of course, as you know, the car drives completely different on 7 cylinders than it does on 8. We have more trouble with rear grip, obviously, with 8 cylinders. But so it's really difficult for me to say. Since my car didn't change much from the whole time we were on 7, and it hasn't changed much since we've been on 8.
All right, Jeff, thanks for talking with us.
Yeah, man.
That's a very key part of the racetrack. If somebody's going to make a pass lane, really
Jeff Burton back there in the back after starting at the back of the pack in 37th position. Should log a top 20 finish. Well, let's go down and talk to Greg Biffle's crew chief, Jamie.
And Greg Irwin now straight face. He's watching his driver. They started out second. You guys fell back a little bit. Now you're up to third. Got to ask you, how much risk do you take right now? Do you go for the win?
I think you will. He's been doing a great job keeping the fenders on it. We've been in some really tight spots tonight with our 3 infusion, and the guys on pit road have been getting us spots every time. And right now the car's restarting really well, the best it has all night. So we'll see what we got. I'm sure neither one of those guys up in front of us are going to lay back. So we'll see if we can't sit back there and maybe we can steal one.
Hey, you guys were 10th coming into this race, one of the bubble boys, as we say. What is it like as a crew chief being in that situation, coming to Bristol of all times?
Can catch a breath on the way home, maybe sleep a little easier tonight, and looking forward to getting on to next week.
Hey, if it finishes like it is now, he would have gained. I think he can breathe better.
And it's been almost a year since it's been to victory lane. In fact, it was September 1. One drivers won a year ago that have yet to win. Best week.